Hello all, welcome to oratrainings.com. In this session, we'll discuss about how do we create a zip file in FTP folder using stage file zip activity. So let's get into the agenda. The prerequisite is you require an FTP server wherein we have the files available and the placeholder where we can read the file as well as we can create a zip file. Now, the stage file action in Oracle Integration Cloud supports these number of operations. And today in our session, we'll concentrate on zip file action. The components required for the integration today we are designing requires a REST trigger connection, FTP connection, and integration of type application, no input parameter as well as no output parameter. This is the REST configuration, REST connection configuration. You can observe here when you click on create connection, check the REST adapter, mention the connection details as well as appropriate credentials for the authentication purpose, and the role we have selected as trigger. Similarly, for the FTP connection, you can observe here, select the FTP adapter, mention the connection name, FTP server address, port number, the appropriate credentials, and test it. Once they are ready, you can just create an integration. Now here you can observe the list of components which are part of this particular, the activity is part of this integration. The first one is the REST trigger activity, wherein we just mentioned the create file. That's the starting point of your integration. The next main important activity is invoke activity, listing the files in FTP. So we are trying to check out or read all the files which are available in FTP in a specific folder. And then we'll be performing iteration of each and every file which we got from the list, and then perform a download activity. And this download operation will download the files which are read in a temporary folder within the ICS. And then using stage file activity, we'll be getting all the files which are available in that temp folder and create a zip file in another temp folder. And in the from the latest temp folder, we'll be writing that particular zip file into the FTP using the write activity. So these are all the list of activities or actions which we'll be performing as part of this particular integration. So you can observe here. So when you run the integration, you can observe here, we are expecting a file to be generated in the outbound folder of FTP with the file name empfile.zip. Okay. So let me show you the configuration. Yeah. So this is my folder 2025 inbound, and we'll be performing a read operation or list file operation on all these three files. And then finally, we should be able to generate a folder or a zip file in outbound EMP folder. So for now, we already have a file, right? So I'll just remove it so that we'll be generating via our integration. So let's go back to the integration now, integration server. So click on create, select the application type, and I'll make a note of this one. So I'll just use these appropriate names. This will be my integration name _ test. Click on create. And the first activity, the REST connection, OT, create the file REST, and the endpoint is just /, no other changes required. Click on continue and finish. The first trigger activity is done. Next activity is listing the files from the FTP. So FTP connection OT, list file from FTP, and it requires the, what we want to do, list files. The action operation is list files. The input directory is this one, the inbound directory. So this is my inbound directory. File naming pattern, I'll just go with start.csv, all the files which are with the CSV extension I want to consider. Click on continue, list files, done. So this particular invoke activity will generate all the files which are available in the inbound folder. Now we'll be performing iteration of each and every file which we read from the FTP. So we'll just perform that via for each iteration. Provide the invoke file response file array as an input to the for loop. File list, file array as an input to the recurring element of for loop. So this will be the element name which we have to consider further inside the for loop. F0_file will be the attribute we have to consider inside the for loop for the download operation. So list file is done, for loop is done. Then we want to perform download operation. So how do we do? Again, FTP download, FTP connection OT. Download file from FTP slash connection. Yeah. Download a file and input directory. So we'll have to dynamically pass them, but as of now, we'll just mention them appropriately. And file name, I'll just say emp1.csv. And to which folder we want to download. So this particular download directory is just internal directory of ICS. It is not the FTP directory. This download directory is just internal directory of ICS. And the first two parameters, we have to pass it from the for loop. Then the input directory as well as file name, we have to pass from the for loop. As of now, we just mentioned the placeholders. We have to change that after the mapping is generated. So now click on finish. Now in the mapping, click on the mapping, which generated just now, click on edit. From the file attribute for loop, you pass file name, will pass directory also. No need to change any download directory because it was set already. Click on validate, it should be fine. Yes. And assuming that we have the files available in the download directory, the next activity, stage file, we want to read the files now. So actions, stage file, this file using stage. Click on continue. Here, the activity or action we want to consider zip files. And now, what is the file name we want to consider for the zip file? So here I just consider the names. So I'll just say emp file.zip. And the directory which we want to download, we mentioned that in the download activity, it was /download. And for the zip file, from the download folder, it will read all the files which are available and make the file name as emp file.zip. And that generated file will be available in the /zip. So these /zip, /download or internal folders of ICS. We can mention any name, but for convention, I just followed that. You can have any name and they're just internal to ICS. Now, final operation is we have the zip file available within the ICS, but it is not available for the user to read. So for the user to read the file or access the file, what we require is we require a write activity. So using FTP, what I will do is I'll just perform a write activity for zip. FTP write FTP, write zip file in FT. And now the action is write a file. And what is the output directory? So we are aware the output directory I want to consider for this one is here. And we have to map it. For now, we'll just mention emp file.zip. We'll just continue and finish. And I don't want to provide any schema. We'll just continue and finish. So here for the mapping, here, yeah. So the mapping which was generated for the write activity, click on this icon, edit. So here on the ICS file, so here zip file using staging response, expand this one. This has the ICS file information, nothing but the zip content. We just need to map file reference to file reference. File name to file name and directory to directory. So the write file response, the write file request will read the file from the zip file response. Save it. Now click here, set the primary business identifier. Save it. Now go back. So here, let us activate our integration. So as of now, I don't have any outbound EMP files. Once it generates, let us try that. Click on this icon, click on run. It may take a couple of seconds, depending upon the server performance. So if it generates a file, the zip file should have 3 files inside it. Okay. Yeah, so it says, yeah, it completed, but let us see the response, whether it generated a file or not. This reload, perfect. And how do we know whether this zip file is having the file? So I'll just drag and drop this file into my local machine. So yeah, let's try this. Perfect. So we are able to see the files, the 3 files which we have zipped it. Yeah. So this all, like we can try to use the stage file activity as well as the FTP activity appropriate actions to read the files, stage them, and create a zip. Thank you.